Hi and welcome to my channel. Okay, now we have our basic models defined. We can go ahead and build the data access layer. So we are going to the DAL project, and you notice I created two folders, the data folder and the repositories folder. I will come to that in a second, but first we need to install the entity framework. The way we do that is if we right-click the project and click Manage NuGet Packages. What this does is it brings up a way to add third-party packages into our solution. And then let's find Entity Framework. As you can see, this is the one that we want. So we simply click Install. Accept the license screen, and now it is installed. So once that this is done, it added this to additional libraries here in our project. We also need to add in a link to our models, so again I will show you that. The first thing we need to do is to create a data context. Data context is a way of telling Entity Framework which model we want to make in a particular table. So I simply create the class called DataContext, and what I have done is I have added this at the end of my class, which is :dbContext. Now at the moment it doesn't know what it is, but because we have added it in the framework, I can right click then resolve and click that, so now it knows what it is that I'm looking for. So now this is doing that column is saying implement the DB context, and that is important so that the framework know how to handle it. So what we need to tell here, which models need to have a corresponding table. So again, if you can see this, it cannot find any of this, so just right click resolve, and it will turn blue to show that this is now found. And what this is basically say is for DB set of product, we will expose repository called products, and that will allow us to get our product table underneath the data context. The actual table names by default is the pluralized model. So in this case, the product becomes products, order becomes orders, order item becomes order items. It has nothing to do with what I named them. I have just named them that because I know that is what they called it in the table, and therefore it just gives us consistency throughout the project. But if you want to change the actual table name that you are using, what you want to do is you go to your actual model definition, and we decorate it with table and give it a table name. And what that will do is when the framework comes create the table, it will create it and call it customer table. But we do not really want to do that, so we will just remove that. Okay, so now we have done all of that, what is actually means. So I will show you by jumping to our web project, and the first thing that we need to do is add reference to our data access layer and to our model again. We will add in the contract for future use. And what I can now do is if I want to go to one of the controllers, is I can now create a link, reference to the data context, new data context, and now I can access products, customers, order items, and orders. And speaking from the definition, here I can say entity framework itself takes care of each individual table. This is just giving us the access to what we want. Now we could not just go from there and access everything directly to the data context. So that means that everything that we want to do would be done within our controller accessing the entity framework directly by the data context. That is not very good pattern because we do not get our abstraction. We do not get our separation that we are after in order to adhere to solid principles. So we need to do is to abstract the entire data context, and we do that using the repositories. So I take this out and go back to my data access layer. We shall see that we get this repositories folder. Now we are going to have one repository for every table that we want to access. So for example, we have a product repository here. We will just resolve that. What this does, it hides the context away behind this class. And in here, we define all our methods for actually interacting with the data underneath. For example, find my ID, find products, insert product, update product, and so on. Now, each of these methods are pretty common across every product that we want to do. So what we could do is create a repository for each one and copy, paste all in. Then there is a problem now. What if we want to change state? Do I need to go each again and update accordingly? So again, what we are going to use now is something like abstraction. So that will be our next topic. That's all for now, guys. If you have a question, comments, or anything you want me to discuss, please comment it below. And if you like this video, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell for the upcoming videos. Thank you for watching.